Joining me now from Washington, D.C., President of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, it's great to see you.
Hey, Stephanie.
Tom, there is a lot to unpack here, but I want to start off with a tweet from President Donald Trump. He said Yates is either lying or grossly incompetent. What say you?
Oh, I think she's mendacious in the sense that she's pretending that the FISA warrants were appropriate on their face. When you look at the warrant applications or the reapplications, whatever you want to call them, it was quite obvious it was vague, dishonest, coy accusations against President Trump and the campaign. And there was nothing there justifying the unprecedented spy operation against the Trump team. And when it comes to General Flynn, she didn't disagree with investigating him. She expressed disagreement with some of Comey's tactics, but she was targeting him in just as an abusive way as the FBI was. And if it wasn't appropriate for Comey to ambush Flynn at the White House, why didn't she confess that to President Trump? And the White House counsel, look, we screwed up here. Instead, they pursued the fruits of that poisoned interview and tried to throw an innocent man in jail.
Do you think this hearing moves the needle anyway? I mean, did you learn anything that shocked you during this hearing? I mean, I feel like we revisited a lot of things that even we've discussed in interviews in the past.
Well, the documentary evidence shows that Yates objected to what Comey had done, but now we're getting it directly for the public. So there's a public education value. We can argue about whether the hearings are generally effective or whether they're too late or not. But something is better than nothing, because I'm not seeing any indication that Durham or the Justice Department is doing any serious look back at the abuse of Flynn. And we have to remember also the targeting of Flynn was about an attack on President Trump. When you're targeting the president's national security advisor, when you're playing games by spying on him or using the fruits of other spy operations to try to undermine him, you're attacking the heart of the presidency, the heart of the ability of the president to conduct foreign policy. And that's why I think the president should pardon General Flynn, because it wasn't so much an attack on him. Obviously, he's a victim, but it was an assault on the constitutional prerogatives of the president to conduct foreign policy, being undermined by his own Justice Department and FBI, and frankly, the outgoing President Obama.
Yeah, and not that you're a mind reader, but if you were, what do you think was going through Comey's mind? I'm assuming he watched this hearing, and he was thrown under the bus several times.
Oh, I don't think any of them care much, because I don't think they think they're going to be prosecuted. So as far as they're concerned, they get some negative PR and media they hate, so they don't care much about it. This is why I think they need to be brought before grand juries, asked questions under oath directly, and be held accountable, at least in a regular process, as opposed to what we've been seeing now, which is not much of anything.
Yeah, and I think you're right on that. I just feel like if somebody were to be held accountable, it would have happened by now. And we see, for some reason, high-profile Democrats or people in the inner circle seem to get away with a lot. And it's so late in the game, and we kind of chatted about this just a second ago, that the election's just right around the corner. So at this point, what difference does it make?
Well, the American people still want accountability, so it's never too late for justice. But I don't think we're going to. I think we're going to be sorely disappointed by the results of the Durham investigation, at least in terms of prosecutions. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I want to shift gears here. I know that Judicial Watch has been warning against the growing risks of mandatory mail-in voting. So tell me what you're most concerned about. I also share those concerns, but what are you specifically focusing on?
Well, we know that at least 43 million ballots, Stephanie, are going to be mailed to voters across the country, whether they ask for them or not. And some of those lists are dirty, and it's just a numbers analysis. A certain percentage of them are going to be fraudulently mishandled. So you've got increased opportunities for fraud as a result of this. On top of that, just getting the ballot from point A to point B is difficult. And I think they're going to break the system in the sense that the mails won't be able to keep up. Election officials won't be able to keep up with the deluge. And so I don't know what's going to happen on Election Day. I'm afraid you're going to have increased voter fraud, and significant voter disenfranchisement because of the broken system that is bound to happen because of swamping our mails with tens of millions of ballots and ballot applications.
Yeah, Tom, on Twitter, you asked what could possibly go wrong with the 43 million ballots being sent out. I responded everything. I mean, there's just so much that could go wrong, especially because this just hasn't been done before. And if you look at this, the states that are going to have to handle this with the expense, and do they have the infrastructure to handle it? It just seems like it's not a good idea, especially right before such an important presidential election. Well, Tom, we're totally out of time. Thank you.